Welcome. In this video, we're going to cover event tracking with Google Analytics 4. First, we'll run through a couple items, including automatically tracked, automatically collected events when you install Google Analytics 4 on your website or in your app. We'll cover enhanced measurement events, and these are events that you can quickly enable just by switching a toggle on that can further track other engagement events. We'll cover recommended events based on use cases that Google has outlined. And then we'll dive into custom event tracking using two methods. One by using Google Tag Manager, and the other by configuring the event tracking directly in Google Analytics 4. So first, when you install Google Analytics 4 on your website, the automatically tracked events include a couple events like clicks, file downloads, page views, scrolls for websites, and then a bunch of events like app engagement, over 30 other events for apps. And with these events, they include parameters which help bring in data that provide context for each of these events, including language, page location, page refer, and screen resolution. These are all collected by default with every event. After you install Google Analytics 4, you can also enable enhanced measurement events. And the way you can do that is by clicking on Admin in the lower left corner here, clicking on Data Streams, and choosing the data stream that you're looking for, and it's one of the first sections in the web stream details here. And if you click on the gear icon, you can see what those events are. So they include page views, scrolls, outbound clicks, site search, video engagement, and file downloads. So you can see the advanced settings for a couple of these, including page views, and you can configure these advanced settings. You can do the same for site search by looking at these query parameters and adjusting them as necessary. So you can choose which ones you want, or you can enable all of them. And by default, page views will be captured. There's a list of these enhanced measurements as well as how they're triggered and parameters that can be collected with these events. Google also has a list of recommended events based on your use case. So for all properties, these are the events that Google recommends and when they can be triggered. For online sales or e-commerce, there are events like adding payment info, adding items to cart, purchases, refund, selecting items, etc. There's also recommended events for games, including level start, level up, posting score, etc. If you want videos detailing the automatically collected events, the enhanced measurement events, or the recommended events, leave a comment below. Now we'll start going over how to create events directly in Google Analytics 4. So if we go back to our GA4 Let's click out of our web stream details, and in the left navigation, click on Configure, and the page we are brought to is for events. So these are the existing events that are being tracked, and we will click on Create Event. And then click on Create again. And here's the configuration page. So we'll start with giving our custom event a name. And there are a few rules that you want to keep in mind. Here in this documentation from Google. So just remember that the event name rules are these. They're case sensitive. Use only letters, numbers, and underscores, and you can't use the reserved prefixes nor event names for custom events. So that includes these prefixes that you can't use, and you can't use these event names for custom web events. And then there's also a section for mobile event tracking as well. So these you cannot use. And for our custom event, we're going to track page engagement. So we'll call this high page engagement. And we'll look for events where the user scrolls past 75%. So for the event name, we'll keep that equals to scroll, and then we'll add a condition for another parameter. And if we take a look here in this real-time report, for the scroll event, we have a parameter called %scrolled. So we'll type that in, and we'll change the equals to greater than or equal to, let's say 75%. Parameter configuration, copy parameters from the source event. So the source event is scroll, and any parameters from the scroll event will be inherited with this new high page engagement event. So we'll click on Create in the top right corner here, and click out of this, and then we'll go to our page and scroll all the way down. If we go to our debug mode, we have a couple of our events here: page view, scroll, and there's our page engagement event. So if we click on this, you can see the properties, the parameters here. And if we scroll down, our % scrolled is 90, so that meets the condition for this event, and that's why it fired. You can also see the same thing if you click right in this timeline, scroll down, there's our % scroll, 90%. Let's create some custom tracking with Google Tag Manager. And what we're going to track is these read more links for the posts. One for the main post listing page, and also for the links within a post here. So here we have our post, and then if we scroll down, there are some additional posts listed at the bottom here. So we want to see if users are clicking on those read more links. That way we can decide if we want to keep them or get rid of them or replace them with some other call to action. So we'll go to our Google Tag Manager page here, and what we're going to do once it loads is create a new tag. Click on this add a new tag link here, and we'll call this GA4 event read more tag. Click in the tag configuration area and select Google Analytics GA4 event. For the tag configuration, you'll need to have a tag configured already in GTM in Google Tag Manager. So that's what we have here. You can check one of the GA4 installation videos from the link in the description. So we have that. And then for the event name, we'll name this Read More Click. Open up the event parameters. We'll add a row. And the event parameters that we want to add include page location and click URL. So the first parameter, page location, we'll add, and the value here. What we'll do is click on this Lego block to add a variable, and we'll look for page URL. You can scroll down and choose this page URL. If you don't have the built-in variable enabled already, you can go down here and search for it. See here we have it enabled, and select it. So let's add that page URL. And then we'll add another parameter for link URL. And we want to make sure that matches an existing parameter, and it does. Click or link URL here. And here what we'll do is type in click URL. And it's just the same function as clicking on the Lego block to find the variable that we're looking for. So we have our event tag configured to track the read more. Now we want to configure the triggering, so we'll click on that area and create a new trigger. We'll call this link read more trigger. Click in the tag configuration area and choose under click just links, and we're going to click on some links. Let's go ahead and check for validation. Enable this trigger when all of these conditions are true. And let's choose page URL. Set this equal to all pages. And for the clicks, let's choose click element matches CSS selector. Let's actually click on this read more and see what we pick up from the link click. So if we choose the link click message associated with the last click and then select variables, we can take a look at our element. And let's choose this selector right here. So that would include the ripple, and then paste that in here. but let's delete that. We'll also add the direct child for the CSS selector that we saw a few seconds ago in our Tag Assistant tab, and then we'll add another condition for the click text, and we'll set the condition to equals and then type in read more. So we have both of these because we don't want to just depend on what renders on the page, but we also want to include the CSS selector, which is very important. And let's preview our new tag. So click on preview in the top right corner here. Wait for Tag Assistant and our website to load. Click on continue. Go to our tab for the preview. We'll minimize this bar. Scroll down. And let's just click on one of these read more links. Go to our Tag Assistant tab. And we can see our tag fired. So let's click on this tag. And we can see the parameters that it captured. Let's click on this message link click so we can see the actual values of those parameters. So for page location, that's the value that it captured, and then for link URL, that matches the page that we navigated to. And then we can go to Google Analytics. Let's click out of this. Scroll down in our debugger timeline and click on the read more. Click. So that event fired, and if we take a look at the parameters that we configured, there's our click URL again, and the page location matches what we captured in Google Tag Manager preview. So the event tracking works. It's good to go. If you're using a parameter name that doesn't match one of the parameters that Google has by default, then you need to create a custom dimension for it in order to use it in your GA4 reports. So for example, let's go back to our GA4 event read more tag, and instead of link URL, if we wanted to call this read more link URL, or just read more link, well, first we'll have to save it, and let's just make sure that it works. So let's preview, just wait for it to load. Let's go to our page, our website, and click on read more. Click on our tag, our read more tag. So it does take that parameter name. Let's go back to our debug view, wait for it to refresh. There we go. Click on the read more, and there's our read more link parameter. So we'll have to go to the left navigation. First, let's pick up our read more parameter name. Click on custom definitions in the left navigation and click create custom dimensions. Dimension name, let's call this read more link. And then the event parameter, we'll paste in the name that we copied. Description is optional, and we'll just click on save in the top right here. So we'll have to wait for a bit, maybe 24 hours or so, and then we can use this in our reports. And we can publish the tag if we want. Just click on submit in the top right corner. So that's how you configure custom event tracking directly in Google Analytics 4 and in Google Tag Manager. It's a bit different from configuring tracking for the universal analytics of Google Analytics. If you want to see more content on tracking, measurement, analysis, reporting, check out the website. There's a link in the description. So I hope you found that useful. We'll see you in the next episode.